Hello and welcome to another top grades made easy video with poetry comparisons. The key thing is to understand the poet's purpose. Let's get started. And now we come to Poppies. This poem is written to explore the power of the patriarchy again, what this does to define a mother's role. So this mother has to hide her emotions from her son, put aside her misgivings, and respect his desire, presumably to go off to war, although I have two videos on Poppies, so you do not have to read this as a war poem at all. It could simply be about motherhood. Anyway, that's up to you. How it breeds naivety and overconfidence in men. You know, it's really clear that the son is going off to a future that he thinks is going to be magnificent and which the mother fears is going to be tragic. And to explore the consequences of a warrior culture and a death cult. You know, that's what enlisting and going off to war as a noble and adventurous activity suggests. You can only have a warrior culture to make men happy joining it. And she explores the effect this has on women, in particular mothers, and to explore the importance of memory. You know, the whole poem is told through the mother's memories and in the past tense. Well, as you can see, there are loads of connections with kamikaze, which is also to show a culture which has chosen to abandon the celebration of life and instead glorify death in the tradition of the kamikaze pilot. It shows the after effects of war on those who participate in it and those left behind. And here it's those left behind that we have the comparison to. To portray a cultural celebration of patriotism and the warrior and sacrifice, here also for the emperor, which is a slight difference to Poppies. To show that time can heal and generations form new perspectives. Arguably, I think the image of the mother in Poppies standing at the memorial to dead soldiers probably suggests that time doesn't heal. So an interesting difference there that would create a nice contrast for you. And this one also explores the importance of memory to our understanding. So loads of comparisons. However, it's not my top one because kamikaze does not have any obvious structure and form, and neither does Poppies, and so it's going to be super difficult for you to get the top grades. So instead, I'd ask you to think about My Last Duchess. This again is about the patriarchy and how it's corrupt, but here women are the victims of it, the very definite victims. The men in power seem not to suffer. There's an interesting parallel here because if the son has died, he has suffered, and that's similar to the idea that the Duke has executed not just his ex-wife, the Duchess, but somebody else in that line. All smiles stopped together. Very strongly suggests a plural. It's written to criticise the compromise between artists and those in power. Well, this is the compromise between women and men's aspirations. So it's not about art, but it's very definitely about compromise. And it also explores the importance of memory. And at the end of the poem, we've got this feeling of impending tragedy at the end of this poem where we think the son has probably died. And we've got another feeling of impending tragedy at the end of My Last Duchess, when the tragedy is that the Count will probably still marry his daughter to the Duke, even though he knows the Duke is a murderer. So this again is a society that celebrates the power of men and the culture of death. You know, as long as it's done on a male's terms, and that's very similar to the culture of death that the son lives in and celebrates in Poppies. And of course, we have the title itself, which is a Memento Mori, a reminder of death. And you could say a celebration of it. You know, we all wear it in our lapels every November, not just to commemorate the dead, but also to celebrate their sacrifice. And so we perpetuate the idea that it is a noble thing to die for your country. And if you'd like to see some essays comparing poems, check out the video appearing on the left, and on the right, videos showing you how to use the FOSS method, which gets you the top grade every time.